Hey Scorpio, I'm Leona Nicole Black, and this is your general tarot reading for November 2018. I have been away for a little while and been focusing on myself really. And I want to thank everybody who sent me emails. Some of you sent me really long, beautiful emails of encouragement and just sharing that you understood my break and then sharing what you've been going through spiritually. And it's just been really good for me to take a step back and regenerate. And my heart has wanted to be here doing this, but now my spirit is like, go. So I'm here to do your reading today. As always, it's a general reading to take what resonates. If it doesn't resonate with you, that's fine. Maybe you'll find another reader who will this month. I would typically do a kind of spread that spirit put on my heart, but for you this month, I was told not to do that. And actually, you have a simple 9 card spread today, and I was like, I don't know, spirit. Like, I'm a Virgo, so I like to get into the nitty gritty. I felt like it's not detailed enough, but they were like, we said do this. So I was like, okay. I have to put my agenda aside and just do the reading I'm being asked to do for you. If you would like a personal reading, I am doing MP3 readings and video call readings on a limited basis. If you know you resonate with me as a teacher, then you can find that at nicoleblack.com/services. Check the link in the description box. There's other things that I offer, including webinars and a weekly connect group for, I guess, gaining more connection, socializing, building a community of love and like-minded people. So if you feel called to do that, all the details are in the description box. I want to get started on your reading. So the first card I have for you, 9 of Wands here. Sorry, 9. It's not 9, it's 7. 7 of Wands. So the 7 of Wands, this is about the effort that you've been applying in your life. This is about the uphill battle that you've had. And I feel like it's a fight you've been willing to take on board. I feel like it's a journey you've been willing to go on, because you've had really, the Ace of Wands is here. You've had a really clear sense of purpose, to be honest. You've had a clear sense of like what you want, where you want to go, what you feel driven by, what even on an impulsive level is calling to you. That's not been vague. You've had like, I want this, or I want this vision for my life, or I want this next step, or I want this position. Like you've had something clear, but you've been up against a lot of obstacles, Scorpio. And this card really comes up in the position of what you've already been through. So you've been navigating an uphill battle where it's felt like every time you've advanced forward, you've had to take a step back, or there's an obstacle at every juncture. It's felt like it hasn't come easily to you. And in many ways, I feel like it has been about refining this Ace of Wands card. It has been about you understanding kind of what you value. If you see here that this person in this card is holding one rod, one wand, one staff here against everything else that's coming up. And it's been about you strengthening, refining, clarifying for yourself what vision, what purpose, what desire trumps all the rest. You know, like what, when it comes down to it, is really non-negotiable for you, what on a spiritual level you must have to thrive, to survive, what you need in your life, what conditions that you need. And this is what's given you clarity. I feel clarity of vision that perhaps some of the other signs are still grappling with, or still asking questions about, or still wondering where they are. The struggles and the triumphs that you've had through struggle over the last year has been about you refining your purpose, really. And I don't really mean purpose in this sense of like a externally given thing, like something that spirit gives to you and says, oh, this is a thing for you to do in this world. I actually mean purpose in terms of you taking control, really. Well, I'm trying to relinquish control, so let me take that back. So no, control and power is a Scorpio issue. Not necessarily taking control. Then what's the word I'm looking for? Is you taking responsibility, maybe, then, for your path, and for directing your path, and for taking the next indicated steps, for example, for driving your life forward. Like, you're not in the passenger seat right now, and you're not just allowing things to happen to you. You really are like, okay, if I want to get from here to here, I'm gonna push that forward. And you've got the Five of Swords. As soon as I picked this card up, I felt Libra energy. And what I feel like is that it has created a lot of disharmony in your personal relationships, because you haven't been able to make this situation pretty. Like, you've had to say no to people, you've had to go against the grain, you've had to put yourself first, you've had to leave situations without explanation. Like, you've had to do things that have created quite a disruption in relationships, it feels like. I think that's why the Libra energy came up. It's in actual, not just like situations, but it's literally you and other people. You've found that you've gone at odds, or you've gone your distance, and there's been like this cutting away and this separation, as you've had to get very single-minded about what it is you want to do. I feel that that was really necessary, because with the Swords card here, you were being very influenced on a mental level by people, places, and things in your life, you know, by what people were saying to you, what you've been reading, what you've been engaging with. I think this was also what this Ace of Wands is about here. It was about you finding your personal power, like really finding your, and you know, the wands represent spirit, you know, they represent that internal fire energy. And so it was about you finding your personal source of power, and those relationships that broke down or crumbled, and it might not be permanent. Some of these might just have taken a step back, or withdrawal, or whatever you want to call it, a break of some kind. A readjustment doesn't have to be a complete collapse here, is the energy I'm feeling. But it was necessary, because you were being driven by these external voices, and not on a conscious level you weren't, because you're not the type of energy that will be like, you do what you're told, or people can force or direct you in any way. But what was happening is that their voices and their energy were these ones down here. And so even if on a mental level you were like, well, I'm going to do what I need to do, and I'm going to go my way, or focus on what I believe, because you were having resistance on a subconscious level, as in like what you heard from people you did internalize, you were acting in response to that. Okay, so you weren't in your own power, you were being reactive, even whilst believing you were being powerful, or believing you were being independent. And so what you needed is to separate and exorcise, remove those external voices, so that you could have complete clarity. So really what I'm feeling for you is that the last year, and you know, I mean 2018 really, but really last Scorpio season to this Scorpio season has been about purification for you. Sorry, excuse me. Clearing the throat. An example of that. It has been about clearing, really clearing your throat, clearing your throat chakra, clearing your, not just your ability to communicate, but your ability to command. The message that I feel here is that, you know, the concept that words have power, and that we can like speak things into being, and you've had to reclaim your communication energy internally, as in what kind of mental communication happens, what energetic communication happens for you, but also what you're externalizing. So wherever you find yourself now in Scorpio season, I just want to twist this a little bit. That's better. Ace of Cups, beautiful card, a really lovely card to be entering your solar return, your birthday season, Scorpio season with. And you know, this is really for Scorpio sun signs, but it can be for rising, for moon signs, or for people who have a lot of planets in Scorpio, so you really vibe with Scorpio energy. The Ace of Cups here, you know, people normally talk about this as an emotional energy, or as like unconditional love, and it is those things, and I often would myself. But for you, this as a water sign, this is about the expression of your personal power. This is an indication that you have gone on the journey that I've just discussed, and you are feeling a sense of self-composure, to be honest. And I feel like you value yourself more than you did before. Whatever that journey entailed, whatever you went through, has given you the cup, the Ace of Cup, that single cup that you have, is you. Like, you know that everything that's in there is the essence, is the nature, is the spirit, is your personality, it's the fullness of who you are. And that's what you're feeling full of right now. Full of yourself, but not in the colloquial term, in terms of like being egotistical. You feel full of your sense of self, your purpose, your understanding of yourself. It's just actually really great energy. It also feels like a 0 point for me. It feels like a clearing of space and a resetting that's gonna send you out to do something or to achieve something. It's like a, you needed this clearing of the deck to start a new spread, really, to start a new story. You have the Two of Wands here as your next card, and this is about the journey you want to embark on. And that's interesting. I only literally just noticed that you have the Ace of Wands and then the Two of Wands, and then the way it's in the way I've laid the cards, they're in this position, one and then two, literally like this. So you've gone, it's a confirmation of what I'm saying, is that you have actually gained on this journey that you've gone on, and you're actually in a slight in between space, because the Two of Wands is the desire now to expand, the desire to take yourself back into the world. So that's why I said some of these connections are temporary pauses, as in you may now be re-engaging with people from a position of like more self-composure, not being so affected. As we know, Scorpios can be a very deeply sensitive sign. You're just private about your sensitivity, but you're not going to be, your boundaries are better. You're not going to be so affected by the comings and goings, the highs and lows of other people here. So you're ready to reconvene, to re-engage, but you're also ready to conquer with this card. You're ready now that you've refined, now that you understand yourself better, now that you've got a sense of your self-given purpose, really. Like I said, that kind of drive of, I want to do this, like I want to create this thing, I want to get this thing done. Now that you have all of that, you're ready to expand. But the Two of Wands also speaks to existing responsibilities. It speaks to what is being in between. All the twos really are some level of duality, and so you're in this gateway of, I have completed a journey, I have successfully gone through something, but I can see like the beginning of something else. I can feel like the energy momentum, but the gateway hasn't opened yet. You haven't quite come into a space where you can actually embark on that. And the confirmation of that is actually the Seven of Wands in reverse, Seven of Pentacles, sorry, in reverse here, which is your impatience. And I don't feel like it's a impetuous impatience. It doesn't feel like, oh, I just want to get it done now. It's an awareness. It's like, I want to go, but I can see it's not quite time. I want to do this thing, but I know, even if it's a business project, right, even if it's like asking for a promotion or changing jobs, or you know, you've met someone and things have been going well, but it's like, is it really time to initiate that exclusive relationship or to take things to the next level? You know that the potential is there, right? You know you're worth the promotion, or you know that your business idea is great, or you actually feel this person resonates with you really well. But you can also sense, if your deep intuition, that the timing isn't quite right, the alignment isn't fully there yet. And so it's this, I think this is why you needed the composure that I talk about in terms of what you gained on this journey, which is to not be driven purely by impulse. You know, Scorpio is co-ruled by Mars and Pluto. And we know that Mars is that ambitious driving force, you know, that will to move forward, and it can be quite an impatient energy. And Pluto is like the depths, really, of things, like the depths, the transformative, destructive crucible of creation too. And those two things can make you almost constantly be in momentum, constantly be in some form of movement. And we know that when water becomes still, it stagnates. Do you know what I mean? And you're a water sign, so I'm not even discouraging movement here, but it's about knowing when a certain direction of movement is open. And I feel like something isn't open for you yet, but it doesn't mean it's not happening. There's just more alignment to happen. There's just more patience required from you in this moment. So what are you moving on to next as you wrap up this year and the next coming months and beyond? Good cards for you, really. You've got the Eight of Pentacles, another progressive card. So you've gone from 7 to 8. So like I said, I feel really good about your reading, to be honest. It's like it's a congratulations, it's a well done from spirit for what you've been through. It's a yes, you're in the right place in your life right now. And then with the Eight of Pentacles, it's like, and there will be progress. Now in reverse, it's saying that you're actually coming out of a season of work, grind, struggle, hustle, push, make it happen. Like, you've needed that. It's been part of your purpose to use your power, your personal power, your Mars and your Pluto energy to drive and to really push your life forward. But that's what is closing down. That's the season that's ending. You know, this card here, this Seven of Pentacles, feels like autumn. It feels like the shift, you know, it feels like the transitional energy. And we know, like, the mutable signs come before the fixed signs. Scorpio's, you know, a fixed sign here. Or the mutable energy is about the transition between, you know, the fixed and the cardinals. And so with this kind of card here, it's really an indication that as you transition into winter, you will actually be able to, you know, this is a season of reaping your benefits. Autumn is always about bringing in the harvest. But autumn requires work because the harvest, you know, Virgo energy, the harvest has to be sifted through and organized. But as you move through into winter, okay, so into December and beyond, it's going to be a time where all that effort and that hard work that you've put in is going to come back to you in dividends. And you're not going to need to struggle and strive as much anymore. You've got the Fool in reverse, and for some of you, this is really the completion of the journey that you've been on, where you've started to realize some of the things that you thought you wanted, some of the new beginnings that you were striving for, some of the desires that you thought you had, you realize you don't really want them. I'll give you a personal example. It came into my head and I didn't want to give it to you, but okay, I'm gonna do it. There was a time for me where, like, I really thought I wanted to have a baby. Like, I thought I wanted to get pregnant. I think it was like expected for the stage of life I was in, and I think there were people around me that were getting pregnant a lot, and I was like, oh, you know, I'm missing out. I really wish that's something that could happen for me. And I was like down about it and stuff. And then I thought I was pregnant, and I was horrified. Like, I do not want to be pregnant. I do not want a baby at all. And I was really relieved when I took a test and I wasn't pregnant. So, and I was just like, I remember saying to my friend, that is crazy, because like literally a few weeks ago I was tearful about it, and now, like, faced with the reality, I was like, I 100% don't want this. And I feel like you've been through a similar situation. This is for some of you. There's two messages here, but for some of you watching this video, you over the last year had things you thought you wanted, you know, things that the culture's conditioned you into believing it was for you, a certain vision of success, a certain relationship. Maybe some of you even got the thing, and you were just like, yeah, this wasn't it. Like, this wasn't what I thought it was going to be. I don't feel deeply satisfied by this thing. Or even before you get it, on this journey, like I said, of like refining your purpose, you're like, actually, I don't want to be, I don't know, I don't want to be a lawyer. I want to be a painter. Do you know what I mean? Or maybe the reverse, right? Because that's very typical of like not wanting to do the cerebral thing or wanting to do the artistic thing. Like, maybe you've been hustling, maybe you've been a musician, and you're like, do you know what? I don't even want to do this anymore. Like, yes, I have a gift and I love to sing, but I don't want to make a career out of it. I really want to go teach. Or do you know what I mean? Like, you've just been like, the thing I thought I wanted, I don't want. And so that's just the completion of that journey, the concretize that becoming concrete for you. And therefore, because you're moving more into alignment with what is really for you, that push, that struggle, that drive starts to rescind, and you start finding the flow. You start finding things coming to you because you're finding that compass of where you want to be. For others though, it's actually about embarking on a new journey. So it's about the Two of Wands here opening up. The gateway that this card represents, it's about that door opening for you as winter begins, and you're able to walk through it, but with wisdom. You know, the Fool card here can speak to lack of experience or naivety or complete blank canvas, or like a spiritual new beginning. But with this card, in your context, is talking about you moving through this journey now with experience, with skill, with wisdom. You're not going onto the next phase of your life blind. I mean, to some extent, yeah, you don't really know what's happening. You can't predict the future. future even from a tarot reading. Do you know what I mean? Things are always changing and in flux. And we always get as much information as spirit is willing to give us and nothing more. But you are seasoned now. You feel capable. You feel, like I said, the self-composure that you have. You're not moving into something like a child or even a teenager. This is you now moving into the maturity of adulthood spiritually as you move on to this next level. And so the last card in your reading is the Four of Swords in reverse. It's two messages again. For some of you watching this reading, this is about you realizing you don't want the thing that you wanted, but some of you are struggling to let it go. Some of you have committed, right? You might have given a certain amount of years to a job. You might have told somebody that you were feeling this relationship and then been like, yo, I'm not. But you don't, it's not that you want to, it's not a reckless kind of I'm not. It's not like, oh, F this person, I'm a mess with someone else kind of energy. It's just where I'm at in my life, this isn't what I thought I wanted, or do you know what I mean? Something has shifted for me, but you don't want to shut this thing down because you've been well, I told this person I was going to commit, or I told this person I was in, I told this person I was ready to move in with them or whatever, and now you're do you know what I mean? So it's about the Four of Swords here in reverse is about you making peace with your truth. It's about you not resisting it, not acknowledging it and casting it aside, but it's being actually, I don't really want to go on this new journey. I don't really want to embark on this. I don't want to go any further down this road, and I need to be peaceful with myself about that. And knowing that very often for me, and when I say for me, I mean for you as Scorpios, the choices that you're gonna have to make pertain. I just got distracted. I feel like I've been I over fertilized some of my plants, sorry. The choices that you're gonna have to make are gonna lead to some disruption, some disharmony. It's gonna cause pain, but it needs to be done. And for others, those of you who I said, this is about you moving forward in your journey with maturity, the Four of Swords in reverse is actually about the peace and the rest that's going to come through this winter period for you, particularly the next 3 to 4 months of you just being able to pull back from the hard graft. That's what you've been doing. And it's about you finding more peace. And for some of you, it will require, because this is a swords card, it's about a mental state, it will require a shift in your actual behavior. So Scorpios are workaholics. That's my experience of you, and I really understand because I'm, as an earth sign and as a Virgo, I'm quite similar. And even when I took a break from this, basically when I took a break from doing tarot work, I was working myself into the ground, in terms of the demands I was putting on myself, the hours I was doing, the energetic output. I was just going. I was doing the Seven of Wands, pushing really hard. And at the point when Spirit was okay, this is not it. This is not the way I want you to work. This is not sustainable for you. This is causing you harm. I was well, I don't know another way to be. And I wasn't able to do a soft transition. I ended up having to stop completely. I had to go from 100 to 0, nothing, in order to recalibrate and figure out what balance looks like for me. And so even when I sat down to record this message for you, this, what I just said to Spirit was I'm so grateful to have time. I'm just it feels good that I'm not oh, I've got to do this and I've got to do that and I've got to rush and get this thing done, and if I don't do this by now, and I've got this many more videos to do, and there was none of that energy. And I was a lot of the peace, the rest. I said to my friend a couple of days ago, I was because I'd spoken to her a few months back when I was feeling really overworked and really stressed, and I was I'm not stressed out. I was I don't feel stressed. I don't. But that required me by force, really, because Spirit demanded it of me, and I had to have roadblocks to force me because I wasn't willing. but it required me to actually change my whole behavior, my whole thought process, my whole emotional relationship to work. And it's not even just about not believing you have to work, grind, but it's actually about valuing. It's not just saying, oh, don't always hustle, be in alignment. It's about valuing the other side of things, or about valuing, like, I know for me, and I've been like this since I was young. I've never wanted to work all the hours of my life. Like, I just haven't. I want time to enjoy myself and being with myself. I want quality time with others, that's always been very important to me. So now, like, shifting my work life around, that gives me space, like space to feed myself spiritually, space to meditate, to pray, to see people, like, it's been crucial. So this card for some of you is about, yes, the energy is going to shift out of work mode, but some of you have that internalized, and you're going to have to learn to value something else, value the concept of your life, that it pertains more than grafting, so that you can make the most of the peaceful energy that's coming to you, because it's here, but you will have to feel it and then make that adjustment. In the same way that, the days London can be very cold and grey, but we've had some really beautiful weather this year, and as gorgeous and sunny as it is, I actually have to go outside. Like, I can enjoy it. Like, there's a window in front of me, I can enjoy it and I can look, but there's a completely different experience to me going out into that experience, and not just being like, oh, I know that this is happening, but I'm still living the way I would if it was cold and grey, which it is today. And so I'm just saying that to say that, yes, in terms of the astrological weather, in terms of the spiritual energy weather, it is going to change for you. But unless you go outside, unless you make that adjustment to enjoy the sunshine, which is really in your winter period, then you're going to stick in grind mode, and it won't be good for you. So Scorpio, that's your reading for the month. I look forward to seeing you next month. Mwah. Have a good day.